From the high desert Southwest in an indiscreet barbershop located within the walls of the Grand Canyon, broadcasting north to the Arctic Circle and Ice Station Zebra and south to McMurdo Sound, east and west across all time zones, this is TSC Radio. Good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, wherever you may be on this third rock from the sun, and welcome to the April edition 2019 of TSC Radio. We're glad to be back on the air, and we've got a lot of great stuff planned for you, the TSC members, and everybody out there in the ether. Tonight, we're going to be discussing the new forum look and the change to the Zenforo software that we did back in March. We'll also be talking about the video software you vloggers are using for your shaves of the day, which is becoming extremely popular. We'll have our mail call segment, and then we'll wrap everything up with the Owner's Roundtable with Handlebarber Dave, C. Vargo, and CB Lindsay. So sit down, have your favorite libation or beverage, and sit back and get ready to enjoy right after this.
This is High Karate's top secret lime orchard, where High Karate's cracked botanists have developed the only lime big enough and powerful enough to go into High Karate Oriental Lime after shave. High Karate Oriental Lime, with indispensable instructions on self-defense in every package. High Karate Oriental Lime. Be careful how you use it.
Welcome back, everybody. In our first segment tonight, we're going to be talking about something that we came up with when we started the forum, and quite frankly, most of us didn't think it was going to take off very well. And what we have found out is that it's been huge, and that we're talking about our media forum section and our video stuff. So the question that went out to the TSC members was, what type of video software is being used by you to put up your daily shaves, vlogs as we call them? And so we want to read some of the responses from UA Cowboy Kyle. I use the free version of Power Director on my phone. I have a project saved with my intro and outro, and then copy that to a new project and add the video in with specific edits I want to add in. Thank you for that, Kyle. H-Man Cole wrote, I also like to know how folks set up their camera in general. Where do they put them? How do they mount them? Cole, thank you very much for that question. What we're going to show now is some of the different setups that people use on how they do that. So if you'll look at the screen, you'll see some of the pictures there. From KJ uses iMovie. He shoots everything on his iPhone. Don says that he's not a regular vlogger, but as far as software goes, he goes to Power Director on his laptop. He really likes the ease of use, and you can get high quality video produced. He does like the templates, and you can go to the Power Director website to download more. Chris Gearnoir, he props his iPhone XS on a towel rack for the video. For editing, he mainly uses iMovie on an old MacBook. If there's any heavier manipulation I have to do, he uses an editor called Pixelmator, which is very similar to Photoshop, but way cheaper. Nurse Dave, as you can see, he uses this type of mount for his camera, and then he does everything pretty much al natural without much editing. TJ, actually, when he does get a chance to do videos, he uses a suction cup mount on the mirror, and then he edits in a upload with Filmora Go. And I know that Chad used to use it. I know he's using something else. Rich uses an iPad hanging from a piece of string and a suction cup on the mirror. Now, if you watch some of his videos, you know that that can be sometimes precarious. The only modification he does is he uses a lavalier microphone on a little stand in front of me, and he just uses iMovie to patch together pictures and re-recorded audio and outro. Sam is just really happy that everybody wears pants during the videos. Well, Sam, if you look at the videos closely, everything's pretty much from the shirt line up. You don't know what's going on downstairs. I'll let you guys ponder that for a while. And from Dagwood Z, Josh, He uses Power Director on his laptop with some peripheral lights, and he is also the only one that does a lather cam, and he uses a GoPro for that. Since his Samsung Galaxy S5 is mounted on a tripod, it's a little bit older, so he can't use a front-facing camera, so he uses a mirror behind the tripod, so he's staying in frame. Once again, he uses a GoPro Hero 3 for the lather cam and a flex-mounted clip on the shelf. So what you're seeing here is you're seeing a little bit of a trend going. Now, I use Power Director 18, which is the newest of the software. We're going to be showing some pictures of both the Cyberlink and the iMovie, and a little bit how to do it. We'll start doing some tutorial videos on that. So we want to thank everybody for the video, and it really is as simple as just pointing your iPhone. And if you are going to use iMovie, you can see here that iMovie, as we go through these shots, shows you a little bit how to do it. And then I've also included the link to Cyberlink, and then also how the Cyberlink screen looks as we're editing. That's the one that I've been using since the very beginning, and it turns out to be very well. So no matter what you use, whether it's a free version or whether it is a more expensive actual video editing program, there's a lot out there. The one thing you want to be very, very careful of when you're looking at video software is look at the rendering time. Now, iMovie is nice because it renders almost immediately and can be uploaded to your YouTube channel. Cyberlink takes a little bit longer depending on the resolution that you want. If you want a 360 resolution, you can get it uploaded and rendered in 15-20 minutes. If you want to go to more of a high def or 4K, and actually Cyberlink 18 actually supports 8K resolution now, including three-dimensional, well, as 16 does too. It takes a little bit while. Like for instance, this radio show will take probably about 3.5 hours to render, and that's simply because it's mostly audio. If it had video involved, so if you want to really get into video editing, I cannot speak highly enough for Cyberlink. It is the fastest rendering software in the video editing market. And you can actually produce a full-length movie on this, so it works very well. So I'd like to thank everybody for putting in for the question on the video stuff. If you're interested in seeing a tutorial, just put comments down here and what you'd like to see, and we'll try to put a tutorial. So once again, thank you TSC members for all your input on that, and I think iMovie and Cyberlink are the ones that you should really think about trying. Okay, when we get back from the break, we're going to discuss basically the new forum look and your feedback from that. Thank you so much. We'll be right back.
Men, after every shave, you need new Ice Blue Aqua Velva, the aftershave lotion that's better for your skin. Aqua Velva cools away razor burn, soothes irritated skin, contains humectant, a skin conditioner that puts back skin moisture. Get new Ice Blue Aqua Velva in this handsome decanter bottle. You'll like its clean, manly scent. You'll hear him say,
"There's something about an Aqua Velva man."
Welcome back to the show, everybody. We certainly appreciate you taking time out of your day to listen to TSC Radio and our April show. Just a couple of quick announcements. Make sure that you check out all of our other forums besides just the shaving forums. We have the Dave's Barbershop, we have Dave's Barbershop Discussion, and we also have other interests where we have coffee, we have games, we have wine, we have all kinds of sorts of things. So please make sure you check out some of the other forums. Also, don't forget to check out our artisan and retail marketplace. These are artisan vendors that have their wares that they'd like you to take a look at. Join the discussion in there as well. And also our hobbyists. These are artisans on a smaller level that produce some of our brushes, some of our razor honing and restorations and so forth, so check them out as well. Also, please familiarize yourself with the terms of usage for TSC. It'll prevent any problems down the road. Also, we'd like to congratulate C. Fargo. He was our latest bingo winner, and we will be having a bingo game starting up again real soon. In this segment, we're going to talk about the new forum software. We went through going back quite a bit of back and forth between us owners as far as what software and how to use it, and we settled on the Zenforo forum, and so far we've loved it. There's more and more stuff that's going to be discussed in the owner roundtable, but we wanted to get some feedback from you folks on what you thought of the video forum, and so we'll read those right now. From Cole H-Man, I had been checking TSC off after watching Dagwood's videos. I did not join at first. The discourse format was hard for me to parse, but I did eventually join about 2 weeks before the update because I like what you are all about. Still, I didn't participate just because it was hard to get in and out at work when what was going on. Nothing but good things to say when the new update arrived, the best shaving site on the internet going right now. The participation and attitude of everyone is outstanding. The only thing I don't like is not being able to edit posts, but that's not a big deal. Well, we'll go ahead and talk about that a little bit for a bit, Cole. The reason why we chose, and I think we've mentioned this on a couple of different items, and we'll also mention it again on the Owners Roundtable. The reason why we chose 15 minutes is, as you know, or as most of you know, we are the only self-moderated shaving forum, and for that matter, most forums on the internet. The reason why we decided to do it that way is we did not want to become dictatorial. We didn't want to say what you could do and what you couldn't do to a point, and then let the gentlemanly discourse of the forum act as a self-policing mechanism. However, with that being said, there's only 3 of us, and all of us work different hours, so we don't know when we're all going to be on the site at the same time. So we chose this editing for a couple of reasons. One, it's a protection device for you and a protection device for the other person. So in the event, God forbid, that somebody has a dust-up here on the forum, we as the owners need to have the complete picture as to what happened. Because if something gets said and then somebody reports it to us and we go back and look at it and there's nothing there, we have no basis, in fact, to investigate the situation. So the reason why 15 minutes was chosen is it does leave somebody enough time to prevail with a cooler head and say, well, maybe I shouldn't have said that. Now, we haven't had that problem, nor do I think we will, but it is an extra set of eyes, for lack of a better term, for us 3 to be able to look at. Now, going forward, if you have something that needs to be edited and you're after the initial editing time, just email or PM one of us, and we will get it and we'll make the change. Another thing you can do is, if you write something down and then 5 seconds later go, okay, maybe I did not want to say that, but it's past the editing time, just report the post yourself. Hit the report button, which is on the right hand side, or actually in the form itself, and that'll report it to one of us, and we can take care of it and or delete the thing. So that's why the editing is as it is. From Don, Dangerous Don, the update really added a lot to TSC. If I had to guess, I actually think the switch attracted new members. I'm all about the camaraderie here at TSC and would participate no matter what. But I think the ease of use of the new software has made it much easier to use, view, and respond. I know at the other places, there was always talking about thumbs up feature on the post and how it would kill the conversation. I don't think this has curtailed the conversation here at all. Sometimes you may not want to respond to something, but you want to show that you enjoyed it. The thumbs up is perfect for that, and this is the fact that the software is highly customizable. Well, thank you, Don. And yeah, we debated putting that on or not, but we think that it has enhanced the forum. I don't think it's knocked the conversation down at all. Sure, it has allowed people to do things, for instance, in the shaving forums. Those of us are all busy. We're all very, very busy, and it's very hard sometimes to comment on every single shaving forum or shaving journal. I know it's that way with me. So having that like button helps, because it still acknowledges to the person that you are looking at the items and giving a thumbs up or a smiley face or a wow. So I agree with you, Don. I think it's good. We'd like to hear more feedback on that, because not everything's about conversation. Just the fact that you can like somebody's post is enough for most people. So thank you, Don. From Steve Chuck Frank, I find something that I like about the new site every day. The only thing I'm still trying to figure out is the best way to keep up on all the new posts. With the old format, I used to get an email notification every time someone responded to a thread I created or posted in. I'm sure I could make that happen again, but I like not receiving 142 emails a day. So I'm just trying to find a system here that works best for me. But otherwise, it's awesome. One of the coolest features is the little arrow on the bottom right corner of the screen that takes you back to the top. Super convenient. Well, thank you. We certainly appreciate that. And what you can do is you can go to the What's New tab, and that's going to give you all the newest stuff. Or if you join a forum, you can once again make all those notifications available to you by email. But I'm with you, Steve. I get enough emails as it is. So usually the What's New is a nice quick thing that you can go into. And for those of you that have not tried our mobile platform, it's very easy to use, whether you are in the vertical or the horizontal position. The horizontal position is going to give you more of a look that you have in the actual computer, but the other mobile version is very good. And of course, Tap Talk is available too. But I think really the mobile version works just as well. And from KJ, we've got a pro and a con. First, the pro. I think the new software upgrade is amazing. It's the best and easiest to use of any of the traditional wet shaving forums. There are features here that I've wanted on other forums and make the experience here top-notch. I know you guys are striving to make it even better, and I know you'll be rolling out updates in the future that absolutely will. Thanks for your efforts. Well, thank you, KJ. We appreciate it. Now for the con. His biggest complaint, which is minor, is that he uses his phone mostly to view the site. As such, I have a shortcut on my home screen to open up the forum. The problem is every time I click it, it opens up a brand new instance of the forum on Safari. Not a huge deal, but after a couple of days, you go into Safari and you realize you have 30 instances of the forum all open. I need to go in and close them all in the old forum. There were two different ways, links to access the forum. One of them behaved the same way, but the other reopened in the same instance, which was also nice because it took it right back to where it belonged. I like that. I realize this is probably because I'm accessing the website from a bookmark and not accessing the app, so probably just one of those things I got to deal with. Yeah, KJ, I have the same problem with my iPhone. Every time you go into something new, you end up having another web tab, and I've gone in there and had to spend 10 minutes just cleaning them out. I think it's just more the congruency between iPhone and the websites that make that the difference. But we certainly appreciate that, and we'll look into that as well. From Nurse Dave, I've gotten used to it, and it seems to work pretty slick. I too like the thumbs up and the ability to pick a couple of other emojis to respond with, and I use the What's New button a lot. On my phone, the What's New is always at the bottom, so I can read down through a thread, click on it to go to something else. On the computer, it's only at the top. The one thing I wish were different would be the profile status updates. In theory, they are a good thing, a place to post something other than your SOTD that might be more visible. But they're off to the side, not in the main flow, so I'm always forgetting they're there. So I'd like it if they could be more prominent somehow or replaced with just a live chat that was suggested prior to the change. Well, as far as the live chat's concerned, we've discussed it. That's not going to happen because the live chat would actually take away from the content of the forum. And most of us that are in there all the time, it's almost like a live chat because you can go in and you get notifications on the top right-hand side of when somebody's posted. So that probably will not happen. As far as the status updates, we included that kind of as a way for somebody to put, hey, how you guys doing, or something like that. And agreeably, it is in the wrong location. We are talking with our software guys to see if we can get that changed, and we'll update that as soon as you know. So thanks, Dave. We appreciate it. From Doc Holiday, the only thing I would say negative is the inability to edit post once time elapse. That was an awesome feature on the old platform. Otherwise, this platform software is the best on the web. TJ, we kind of talked about that earlier, and we'll also talk about that in the owners forum as well. But you'll see the reasons why we did that. From Bob, MSP, have only two desires that I wish were fulfilled by the new forum software. The ability to have a favorite thread and or favorite forums page. I use the What's New feature, but it's not quite the same. Not a big deal, but you're soliciting feedback. The second is only gratuitous. I like the idea of using GIFs for avatars with the old B&B system. I'm sorry that we can't do it anymore. In any event, overall version 2.0 is so much better than the original. It's the reason I've become more active here. I found the old system to be clunky and otherwise difficult to navigate. Bob, I appreciate what you brought up. These are things we are looking at. As far as the gifts are concerned, these gifts, believe it or not, the ones that are still being used by people that we transferred over, we don't know how we can get them to use, how they're working, quite frankly, because the plug-in that we would need to use those is extremely expensive and, quite frankly, not really worth it. We can still post GIFs anytime we want in the threads that we want, but not as our avatar. So that probably won't be changing unless there are some changes to the actual software in the code. So we'll probably keep that. Now, as far as the other item, we're looking into all different things. I mean, we're still in the infancy of this new forum. The Zen4 platform is fantastic, and we'll be rolling out things as we can. We certainly hope you guys like the ticker across the top. We're not using it constantly, only when we have big events. And for Milk Crate, very simply, I like the new site. I mostly use it Chrome on my phone. Now, there was a joke in there that Dave from Kentucky had come in and said, all this homework, and that's all you could come up with. You know what? We like the fact that you guys are coming up with anything. Please note that keep an eye on the TSC Media Forum for announcements of the upcoming radio shows, because you guys drive the content for the most part, so getting as active as you can would be the best way to go. Okay, folks, that's it for this segment. We certainly appreciate it. We're going to take a quick break, and when we come back, we'll do our mail call, and we'll also get ready for the Owners Roundtable. Stay tuned. We'll be right back.
Look sharp, feel sharp, be sharp and listen, mister. How are you fixed for blades? Do you have plenty? How are you fixed for blades? You better check. Please make sure you have enough. Cause a worn out blade makes shaving mighty tough. How are you fixed for blades? Better look. Gillette Blue Blades, I mean.
Welcome back, everybody. Once again, we'd like to thank you for being a part of the TSC and the TSC radio show. Well, we've brought back our mail call section. Kind of small this week, but some fun questions. So first from Cole, he asks, getting started with a straights thread might be relevant since there are a couple of people starting to prepare to take the plunge. We are planning on doing that. It's just a matter of fitting everything in. I know that those of us that shave with straights and hone razors and so forth, I know Chris just put a honing video up, but keep an eye on the tutorial section because I'm planning on doing a complete tutorial starting from naming the parts of the razor, why the razors are shaped the way they are, all the way through Shaving 101 through the advanced stages, because I did train most of the barbers at some places on how to do the proper English straight shaves as well as the Italian straight shaves, and there is a different. I'll also be including a video from the actual barber shop itself of doing a straight shave on a client, so you may recognize him as well. We'll see. That's supposed to be happening on Friday, so we'll go from there. So Cole, we will be doing that. We will be getting that up. From Don, will Chad be working in coloring books and comfort puppies into his bad blade shaves? Well, I don't want to go into too much detail on that, but I will tell you, Don, that Chad will answer this and answer for this in his in the owner roundtable, and we'll also get to find out exactly what he plans on shaving when we reach 200 members. So please stay tuned for that. From Chris, what's up with the Eucharist soap and why can't a master barber get it to work? Well, Chris, I hate that stuff. I mean, I hate to love it and I love to hate it. It is the soap of James Bond. But the what's happened in the industry, I think, is a lot of your major English soap makers have gone to larger corporations to build their soap for them. There's probably a handful of soap makers that are making it for the vast majority of all the places, and as such, they're I use Crabtree and Evelyn as a perfect example. Crabtree and Evelyn was one of the premier English soap makers and perfumers and body lotions and everything else. And they had stores that you could go into. They've consolidated and gone online. The shaving part of things is not that important for them, in my opinion, anymore. So they've went by the wayside. Now, I understand that their creams are still good, but I can tell you just by using the original Crabtree and Evelyn extract of sandalwood and the new sandalwood, that they are junk. And I would venture to say that that GOF Trumper also has Eucharist, the shave soap made by that same company, because it's impossible. You can use it, but you have to start out with a extremely dry brush, an extremely dry puck, and just keep working it and working and working. Because if you add just a tad bit too much water, you'll blow the lather out. And so I have told myself that I am going to make it a shower soap, but I keep trying it, and I'm going to master it. It's a wonderful scent, but it's probably the only soap that I cannot lather on a consistent basis. Now, Chad gives me crap because he thinks that I've got some crazy voodoo going on because I can lather almost every single Penhaligon's soap there is, including both the original and the secondary non-tallow version of the greener soaps as well. Now, most people do not have problems with sartorial. Sartorial just goes like crazy, but for whatever reason, certain soaps in the Penhaligon's line get a little bit crazy to lather, but I've never had a problem with English Fern. Never. Both the tallow version, which I don't use that often because I've only got about a half a puck left, and it's unobtainium, but even in the non-tallow versions. So that's kind of what's up, Chris, with Eucharist. It's going to be my nemesis until time immemorial, I think. And finally, from Rich, is getting your barber's license like getting your passport. Take a picture and send it in with your completed forms, and the license comes back with a picture, and you're ready to hang it on the mirror. Well, in short, yes, after you go through what's required. In the state of Arizona, anyways, it's required that you complete 1,500 hours of instruction. Now, of that 1,500 hours, 750 needs to be theory, and 750 has to be actual practical usage. Now, what we're trained on as barbers, for those of you who don't know, there is a huge difference between a barber and a cosmetologist. Cosmetologists technically are not supposed to do shaving. However, there's been some law changes that says that they can cut hair anywhere from the neck up. Well, but they're not trained in how to shave, so that can get a little interesting unless they're actually trained to shave the proper way, which most do not. In most barbershops today, although the state of Arizona does allow us to use actual full-fledged straight razors, I would say 99.999% of the barbers out there are using the feather-based system, or they're using a barber razor. Now, what a barber razor does is it takes a half razor, it's a half DE razor is what it is, and you plug that in and it makes it a straight. It's a shorter throw. It's only about 1 inch to 1.5 inches, whereas a straight razor is 3 inches. Some people are very good at doing it that way. I personally use the feather-based system on most. However, I use more and more, probably 85% of the time, I use an actual straight razor. The reason why in the barbershop it's a little hard to do is because barbers are not trained on how to hone. They're shown how to hone, but they're not really trained on the longevity of honing. They are trained how to strop. They are trained to know how to do the stropping. But I'd say probably there's only probably a small percentage of us that are actually using straight razors. Because you do need to be proficient with it, and if it's sharp enough, you need to know all the proper strokes to do it correctly. So that's the major difference. Now, cosmetologists can do nails, and believe it or not, we as barbers are trained somewhat on nails, but we're trained completely on coloring. We're trained on perms. We're trained on everything. So we can do ladies' hair, but barbers cut differently than cosmetologists. We use a longer shear. Most cosmetologists will use a 5 to a 6 inch shear. Most barbers will use 7 and 7.5 because shear cuts are extremely important, and blending with shear your cuts are extremely important. Clipper usage is also used. So through those 1,500 hours, you learn how to do that. Currently, Arizona's got reciprocity with 28 states. So to answer your question, once you complete all that, then the first step you have to complete the written exam at the state level. Once you complete the state level written exam, then you go through the practical exam, which is an hour and a half. Now, for barbers, it is a gentleman's cut. Now, what that is the big thing is a fade. But quite frankly, a monkey can do a fade. Fades are the big thing right now. They're very popular in the Southwest, and they do require skill, don't get me wrong, but they can be trained. A true gentleman's cut, whether that be a flat top, whether that be a flat top boogie, whether that be a contour, whether it be a slick back, those need finesse, and you have to be really good with clippers, shears, blending, and so forth. So at the state level, you actually do a gentleman's cut, and it is with a taper in the back, and that's not a fade. That's just a tapered back on the back end, usually squared off, but tapered up, and a full 14-step shave, the way they taught us, and a rest facial. And then once you complete that, then, of course, as you say, Rich, you actually send your pictures in. Well, they actually already have a copy of your picture because you were given a student barber's license that had your picture on it. And then, of course, you get your actual physical license ready to hang. Now, once you pass the state board exam, you're given a license number, and you can practice until you actually physically get your license. I won't go into detail of my feeling between barbers and cosmetologists. The reason why we as barbers are so proud of what we have accomplished, and that we are the only ones that are allowed to fly the barber pole. Cosmetologists cannot fly the barber pole legally. In fact, they can get in trouble for it. It's because at one time, barbers were tonsorial artists. The specialists would actually be dentistry, bloodletting, surgery even. And believe it or not, that doesn't go that far back. In the late 1900s is when they actually separated barber surgeons to make doctors and so forth, surgeons and barbers. So there's a long lineage that goes back for the barber pole and being a barber. And what some of us are doing is we're trying to bring back that old time Floyd's barbershop type of thing, where you can come into a barbershop, sit down with a cup of coffee, even if you're not getting a haircut, and just shoot the crap and so forth. So we're bringing that back, and it is a dying art. It's being replaced with the supercuts type of thing and everything else. And I know that KJ and I and some of the other guys that cut their own hair have had discussions on barbering versus non-barbering. And we also have a thread here, obviously, the barbering discussion. So it's a neat art, and that's how we get our licenses. And I recommend trying a barber, but find a good barber. Find one that you personally get along with and that you enjoy sitting down and getting your hair cut from. And I'd like to open this up to any of the TSC members. If you're in the Arizona area and you'd like to get a haircut, please contact me, and we'll do something special for you as far as a shave and so forth if you're down in the Tucson area. Okay, that's it for our mail call section. We are going to go right into a commercial, and then once we come back from the commercial, sit down and strap in. We got 45 minutes with all three of the TSC owners. Sit back. We'll be right back.
I think women are becoming a little more frightening to men these days. Maybe because we're freer to do much more. But some men aren't intimidated at all. They enjoy our freedom. Those are the men I like. And you know, those are the men who wear English leather cologne. English leather fits the way they live. It's so clean and natural, and I love it. So all my men wear English leather, or they wear nothing at all.
Look for English leather in a wide selection of gift sets.
Okay, TSC members, welcome back to the TSC Radio Show. We're back after all these months and years, and we're going into our round table. My partners, Chad and Chris, are joining me. Say hi, guys.
Hi, guys. Hello.
And for those of you that have not heard the radio show before, this is usually the final segment of the radio show where the owners sit around and discuss things that are important to you as the member, as well as some of the upcoming things. So right off the top, Chad, why don't we talk about the fact that the TSC, the Shaving Cadre, is now 1 year old?
Yeah, so I think one of the best things, if you guys go back and listen to the beginning of the radio shows, when we first started and kicked off the TSC, you're going to hear a lot of the background about how the TSC started, what our vision was, what our mission was. So I'm not going to spend a lot of time on that. But I think what's important to recognize is that March 15th, we did celebrate our 1-year anniversary. And if you go back and listen to that original episode, I would say that we didn't just meet our vision and mission for our first year, we surpassed it. We've grown exponentially. We're nearing about 200 members. You know, a huge shout out to Eric. Not only has he done a legacy brush for us, a member brush, and now the first anniversary brush, we are getting comments on our YouTube channel of people wanting to know where this brush came from, how can they get one. So, you know, it's a limited edition, and I think that's what's great, that we're able to comment back to these people. So the fact that, you know, we had every artisan that is a member of TSC contributed for the 1-year anniversary. You know, you got something from Sterling, something from CBL, something from Mystic Waters, something from Lisa, and then we even extended that olive branch and included Sherry City as well. So it was a great opportunity to show just camaraderie as a group. You know, we're thankful to everybody that is a member here at TSC. And I think we're excited the fact that after 1 year, what we've accomplished, and with the rollout of the site, which I know, Dave, you've talked about, of the upgraded site to the new software, we've got even more power to us now, and we're just going to get bigger and better.
Well, I think Chris and I both echo that sentiment, and I'm looking at the forum right now, and as of this taping, which is the 22nd of April, we are sitting at 189 members, and congratulations, B the Duck, and that's not me or a relative of mine, is the newest member. And when you look at the fact that we are a year old, I mean, it's interesting. I'm a kind of a numbers guy as you are, Chris, and you know, we've got over 1,400 threads with over 92,000 messages based on 189 members. Now, that brings up two things. One, there's a lot of people spending a lot of time, and these members are dedicated, or we're just a bunch of loudmouths. But either way, it works out really well. We just recently completed, for those new members that have not been here, we just recently completed our first annual yard sale. And Chad or Chris, how would you like to talk about that?
Yeah, so I think what to me is
let him go in.
Go ahead. Well, the yard sale, I don't want to take all the credit, right?
This is live radio.
It was a fellow member, Nurse Dave. He reaches out and he says, "Hey, do you think we could do something like this?" And we kind of just ran with it then, you know. So I think it was a fun opportunity. We learned a lot, and it was a good way to kind of get some deals. I know I bought a couple things. I know I sold a couple things, and I know both of you did as well. I think if we learned one thing, it's that the TSC as a whole right now, with all of our members, we're buyers, not sellers. But the second thing that we learned is that we're a bunch of generous people. You know, we had a lot of people that contributed, you know, and we didn't ask for it. You know, we didn't say it was required, but we had quite a few people that kicked back, you know, a little bit in the form of a donation to the TSC. And so I think it's important that we make it clear to all of our members, as you listen to this, that those of you that donated, 100% of those proceeds goes straight into an account that we have that goes 100%, every penny will go towards upkeep of the site, whether it's an upgrade, whether it's a server cost, whatever it is, 100% of it goes to that. So, you know, anything that we get, we put right back into the site. So I think that's important to know. And it's, you know, it was a lot of fun, and it created a lot of banter. And I think we're going to do it again. You know, I think we're going to do it again next year, and we're just going to try and make it an annual thing.
Well, and I agree. I mean, I didn't, you know, I sold one item. I looked at a lot of items, but, you know, I know, Chris, you had quite a number of things out on the yard sale. And I know for a fact that I think it was KJ. Was it KJ? It was either somebody like that actually had talked about some of the things that he purchased as well as other ones. How do you think it went?
I think it went wonderfully. It served several purposes. One, like Chad said, we're buyers, not sellers. That seems to be the trend. And it gave us an opportunity to, you know, throw something out there for sale, kind of like you would at a yard sale, where you want to get a fair price, but you just want to get rid of it, type of thing. And the buyers got a good deal in every case. And it also gave us a chance to do one more thing, and that was to really kind of announce our newest tool, the feedback tool. We rolled out the feedback tool just before we did the yard sale, and it allowed everyone to make a transaction and then provide feedback on that transaction as a demonstration of the tool and the quality of users members we have here on the forum. So I think it went very well, and I'd like to see it done again annually, biannually, whatever. I wouldn't want to do it more than twice a year, but it's certainly something to revisit at least once a year.
Well, and I think that's important you say that, and hopefully those of you TSC members out there, give us your feedback. Let us know how you liked it, what we could do to make the yard sale a little bit better, because we want to do all that. If we take one step backward, we want to take two steps forward. So we're always moving in a forward direction. And another thing we want to apologize about is that we missed the colorectal cancer month, and we were right in the middle of the upgrade, but we're planning on rolling out those type of things as well. Chris, Chad, and I have been talking about that, whether it be colorectal cancer, whether it be Alzheimer's awareness. We're going to be looking at a number of things and, going forward. And I think that brings up another thing, Chris. Some of the members are probably already noticing that we have changed our vendor forum to our artisan and retail area. Would you like to explain a little bit about that?
Yeah, that actually was a discussion that started, very much almost a year ago now. Before you ended up going to school on us, Dave. And the conversation, it was basically, vendor. We're all accustomed to what a vendor is because we're out there. We're used to the forums, and it's typical. The forum, says, "Here's our vendors. Go. These are the people that sell you stuff." Well, we looked at the vendors a little bit differently. They're not the people that sell us stuff. They're the people that feed our hobby. They're craftsmen. They're masters of their craft in many cases. Whether they be, most of our vendors at this point are soap people, but there are vendors, quote, that sell brushes or other tools and items that we would use. And they're craftsmen, they're artisans. So we agonized over what do we label them that is both truthful and honest, but also easily understood by the mass user who's used to just a generic vendor term. And, how do you do it? You call them artisan vendors or artisan, sellers, something that comes in there. But there's going to be a true vendor come and join the shaving cadre at some point, someone who's just a retailer of something. But right now we have people they're members. They're contributing members. A lot of them are very busy and they're not contributing a lot, but they're here with us. They willingly supported the first anniversary brush. We just basically said, if you want to do something, do it, and they did on their own. And like Chad said, the olive branch was extended to Cherry City. Cherry City's not a listed artisan at this point, but he's a craftsman too, and he's participating, as a member in the forum, and he said, I'll add something. That says a lot when they'll add of their own will, and we want them to always feel that way.
Well, and I think Go ahead, Chris. Go ahead, Dave. Well, what I wanted to say that I think it's really important that we mention that for our artisan retailers because. As we know, they can be put by the wayside just as a retailer, and that's it. And they're a supporting person for the forum. And I think what we've done differently is we encourage them to openly discuss things in the forum, so they're part of that family and they can feel like members first. That's really what I wanted to add and to thank them. And Chad, I know you were going to add something to that as well.
Yeah, just two quick things to add to that. On the back end, I know the three of us, we see the artisans, and they might not be commenting all that often, but they see they're on. They're on when they're able to, and they're looking at things and they're reading content, and they're using us as a tool to understand what it is that we want. And I think, back to the thing what Chris was mentioning, where we had to decide what to call them. And we started and defaulted with vendor, but when we discussed it more and more over the course of the months, we realized, how can you call somebody like Mystic Waters, for example, a vendor? She's somebody who has pretty much had the same formula throughout her career and has been around for years and has perfected her recipe, has made changes to it. And that's an artisan.
Sure.
She's a master of her craft. And whenever she's able to be on or comment or, discuss her product, we're actually talking to the real person who's making it. You're not just like going down to Walmart and picking up a bar of Ivory soap. You're actually able to discuss this in detail with the person.
Well, and I think that's what's important too, is that these our retail and artisan partners can get immediate feedback. I mean, right out of the gate, they can get immediate feedback from their core audience, because the bottom line is all of us here, all of the TSC members, us three partners as owners of the forum, have all been at other places, and we're kind of the niche experts, so to speak, as all of our members. So, the artisan retailers can use our people as market research, and we don't charge for that. We don't, this is their bread and butter, and it's nice of them to be able to just sit down. It's almost like sitting down having a cup of coffee with somebody and saying, "Hey, tell me what you think of this product." And I know that Chris, on the CBL soap side, you have a good way of doing that, is saying, "Hey, this tell me what you want, tell me what you want to see." And and we're not discounting our hobbyists either. Obviously we're talking a scale difference, but they're all still artisans as well.
Right, and that's one of the things, bringing up the CBL soap brand. We have another artisan, the Chambers, that is also a new. CBL started up within the last year. The Chambers company also started up the soap business within the last year, and it being a startup, everyone knows what they're doing until they actually start doing it. It's great to have an interactive forum to interact with essentially the customer base and figure out in kind of a safe format, how do I serve you?
Right.
How do I make you a customer of mine? And then it's done in a tactful and open way where everyone benefits.
Right.
So whether it's Michelle of Mystic Waters or Sterling, wanting to read what's going on, we all see it.
Well, and and I'm going to bring up
tag somebody and say, "Make me a grape soap." Right.
Yeah.
Well, and here's one thing: both of you and our TSC members are probably aware of what we call the Mandela effect. If you're not, what that means is the Mandela effect. Here's a perfect example. Years and years ago, there was a movie that came out called Shazam. Now, most people think that movie was about a genie. But most people also say that they put the actor not who it really was. The actor was Shaquille O'Neal, and it was a terrible movie. But everybody thinks that it was the other guy, Sinbad, and it wasn't. It was Shaquille O'Neal. So that's the Mandela effect. So I have to ask this because I know that there's members out there that are thinking the same thing. For years and years and years and years and years, I knew Sterling Rod at Sterling.
Yes.
And I see Joe Hackett and my brain explodes. So I still, to this day, don't know the story behind that. I hope to, dear Lord, one of you two does.
No, but I'll add to the mystery. There's also Margaritas in the Attic, which is not Margaritas in the Attic
exactly,
at all.
It's Margaritas in the Arctic, right.
Yeah, his name is Rod. It's Rod and Mandy, right? It is Rod and Mandy. I've had a lot of personal conversations with him. Joe Hackett is just an internet alias that he's used.
Oh, well, thank God, because
years.
you've seen the forums. People are going, I mean, literally, I guarantee you, even though we cannot see through the computer.
So his name is Rod. I hope he doesn't mind. I mean, he makes it pretty clear on his website, too, that his real name is Rod. And his last name is not Sterling, by the way.
Right,
either.
I knew that.
You can read into that and get more information as well. If you read on his website, you can get the full story. But his name is Rod and his wife, Mandy. And the two of them, they make a great product, in my opinion. They have the budget-friendly market perfect. I mean, if you need a solid Tier 1 soap at a good price, you got to look at Sterling.
Right.
That's just my opinion.
Well, and the thing is, and that's good, and I think it's good that the members know that, because I know even though we can't see through the computers, I guarantee you when they see Sterling, and especially if they've been around a while, they see Sterling, they see Joe Hackett, they know it's Rod, I guarantee you they are digging their fingers into their brain going, okay, am I having some type of stroke? Because I do know this. So, But, going forward, and what I would also suggest to all the TSC members, if you have a relationship with one of the artisans or one of the bigger vendors or stuff like that, please have them give us a call. We are very, very generous with what we give them, and we want them to be a part of the forum. So thank you guys for that. Now, as moving forward, we're also going to talk about the media a little bit, and that's kind of my foray. But I want you guys to throw in one thing that I thought was hilarious when we first started this thing a year ago, is that when I pitched to you guys that I wanted a forum that was all media all the time, and both of you, and I remember this, both of you said, okay, yeah, we can do that, but you're probably not going to get a lot of people doing stuff on it. Aside from the radio show, which has been very popular across multiple forums, doing videos every single day. Well, here we are a year later, and I'm totally blown away, because what in a way it's a rob Peter to pay Paul, because our shaving journals was our base. That was our base, our shaving written journals. But what I'm starting to see is it's much easier to make a video and point people to that. And we have been, across Instagram, Facebook, we are now known as the forum. If you want to learn something about shaving or see a video about shaving, ours is the forum to come to. What do you guys attribute that to?
Everyone wants
I think honestly that's part of it, but I think the underlying thing is that we've gotten to know these people so well. I mean, so take like Dagwood Z, right? Josh. Mm-hmm. We know that he's out serving our country, and he's out in the desert somewhere, and it was always fun to read his posts and stuff along those lines. But ever since he came over to the TSC, and he starts putting these videos up, all of a sudden there's a face to the name.
Right.
And you feel like you could pick him up. Like if you're walking in the airport, you might see him.
Well, of course,
you might see Rich.
Well, of course, because
he's got. You know who they are.
Well, yeah.
And you feel like there's a connection to him. I think that's honestly what it's about.
Well, let's face it. The truth is that you see Josh walking through the airport. He's got that Superman swoop going on his hair, and Rich would be easy because he would be covered in cats and dropping stuff. So I mean, the things that and of course.
And the new guy. Well, not really new. He's been around a while, but UA Cowboy, who's our newest hobbyist.
Yeah, my fellow Tucsonan.
He throws out videos, and I didn't know him before the TSC, and you feel like you kind of know him as a person, and it's kind of cool.
Plus he enabled you
me into this coffee.
I was going to say he just enabled you into coffee, and that's what's fun about this. I mean, I really do think that we are a family here more than anything else. I mean, a perfect example is now we've got guys in there making videos about and acting like the other guys. Chris Gearnor is, everybody's doing different things. So, I mean, to me, I think it's fantastic. And what that leads me to is over this next year or so, we're going to be looking at some other parts to the media. One is doing live events, whether that be on Facebook or Instagram, where you, the member, can get involved in real time. Because as you know, the TSC radio show is taped and then put together, but we want to do some live stuff. Another thing that we're working on, now I cannot guarantee when this will happen, but we're looking at having the first annual TSC Con, so to speak, where we will actually have a convention where people will actually come to, and we'll sit around and we'll get to know each other. It's in the very, very infant stages of where we're going, but the plan was, as the partners and I have discussed, is that every year to switch locations. So in other words, one year it would be out west, one year it would be in the center of the country, one year it would be on the east coast of the country, because we understand with families and everything else, it's hard for somebody to fly across country, so you may not be able to to come to every one. We'd hope that you would, but if you can't, then you can go to the one that's in your area or your region. So we'll keep you guys updated on that as that comes forward. I know that it had been talked about in other places, but we're going to do it. We're going to actually do it. Most likely, we will say that Las Vegas will probably be the inaugural TSC Con when we do have it, and hopefully we can get some of the vendors to come out as well. So that's kind of what's going on the media side of things. Guys, do you have anything to add to that?
Well, you got to call out real quickly. You got to call out with the media. You got to call out Nurse Dave's CB Lindsay quiet bingo shave.
That was beautiful.
That was like the most hilarious thing I have watched. I was dying. It was so funny. And I don't think he was trying to make fun of Chris. I don't think he was trying to. It just, the whole time, because it was just, Gear Noir's making fun of other shavers, and then Nurse Dave does this one, and oh man, that was funny.
It seemed like there was, we those of us in the shaving realm, even you new guys, will understand when we start talking about Mr. Murphy. Mr. Murphy, obviously, anything that bad can happen will happen, and it seemed that week, and I think Chris Gearnor probably started it because, as we all know, his videos are epic, and when I say epic, I mean epically long. I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding, really, Chris. I'm just kidding. Not really, but anyways.
Really.
but he came out with that one. And, well, first off, he had the closed captioning on, and some of the closed captioning is hilarious. And Chris, or Chad, I don't know who you're poking and why, but that's some of the closed captioning. But Dave, to me, when he comes out with that one, it reminded me, if you were to take Cheech Marin and Tommy Chong and smash them into one person, that would be it. Yep. And it's just perfect. And then that next day, Rich has a complete, utter earthquake meltdown with his equipment, and all of us have. I mean, that's what I think's fun about these videos is usually they're uncut for the most part. There may be speeds and stuff like that because we don't want Chris to get upset if we get our videos past 45 minutes. And that's what's fun about the media, and I'm so happy and so proud of the TSC members for really grabbing onto that, and I think it gives them a forum for followers as well, and when they have followers, eventually we're going to have followers.
Oh, I can speak to that directly. Our good friend Dagwood Z, who basically he's phenomenal at reviewing soaps, as anyone that I guess reviews them on a daily basis would be.
Right.
But his videos are timely enough. They're quick and easy enough. They're full of a little bit of information and easy to watch and all that. And he has
the ladder cam. You gotta love the ladder cam.
Yeah, ladder cam. Yeah. And he has a huge following that he deserves to have. But he's very loyal to the shaving cadre, and whether it's his channel or not, people know who he's, posting the videos for.
Sure.
And he mentions, hey, just happens to mention CBL soap. I like this, and that it's his influence because they're people from his neck of the woods out there in the middle of the desert,
right,
that are ordering the soaps or calling to find out, can you send it to me? So you can see it happening. And you can see it happening with each and every member. Every one of them has a unique personality.
Sure.
Not everyone's going to want to watch Josh. I don't know why, but not everyone's going to watch him.
Right.
But you can learn something from everybody. And I think that's phenomenal.
Oh, it is.
Yeah, you can learn which blades not to use.
It's a Bad Blade series from never-ending Bad Blade series. Don't mention you're going to do something like that. People send you stuff.
Well, and that's the cool thing about it, and we're going to be expanding more of that into tutorial videos because I know that Cody H-Man would like to see a beginning straight shaving, starting from from basically learning every single part of the razor to the all the way through the final part where you're honing and stuff like that. So we're going to be working on stuff like that. What other items would you guys like to discuss? Going forward, as far as your thoughts about the forum, where the forum's going, items like that.
Well, one of the things that we do have an open thread where people can, kind of a wish list. I wish the forum could do this or would do this, or whether it be technology or just some sort of like H-Man wanting some tutorials. We do watch that, and I think we take the suggestions a little bit too much to heart, because some of these things only interest you, the person that made the recommendation. But we still, the three of us, put our heads together and figure out how can it be done, can it be done, and if it can be done, we do get it done. Some of these simple requests, like the GIF animated avatars, how it is we managed to get those to port over when Zenforo cannot do it without a plugin that is just not functional on this platform of Zenforo.
Sure.
I don't know how we did it, but it worked. But now they're not working.
Right.
So we talk about these things, and some of them only interest one or two people. But I would say I do want us to continue the conversation about how to be that much better, wherever it is. How to be that much better.
Right. Exactly. Chad?
Yeah, you stole the words right out of my mouth. You really did, Chris. I think that's one of the biggest things that we've proven, and we're going to continue to prove to the membership, that if you guys have an idea, just reach out to us. I mean, it's at least weekly, sometimes, if not daily, where we don't get a question from somebody asking us, like, hey, what do you think if we did it this way? Or what if we did this? And we're going to give you our honest answer. I mean, we're the owners, so to speak, but I think we all feel like that it's our forum. And when I say our, I mean all 189 of us. It's not just the three of us; it's all of us, right. And you really try to treat it that way.
Well, and and the thing is, from this side versus the other side. Chris nailed it on the head. There are some things that maybe one or two people that we can try, and when we're at the size we're at now, it's a little bit easier. But as we grow and get bigger, understand that when we make a decision to either do something or do not do something, it's not something that's on the cuff. We have talked about it, we've discussed it, we've talked about the pros and the cons, and I'll just mention this now. Is, for instance, when people were a little concerned about the editing times. Now, with the fact that it is a self-moderated forum, believe it or not, that editing time actually acts as a silent partner to us. And what we mean by that is not to say that this would ever happen, but as we get larger and we get more personalities within the forum, the potential for a dust-up is there. It's always there. And the reason why we've limited the editing to 15 minutes is if a dust-up happens and then cooler heads prevail and the person goes, well, I better go change that. Well, that is all good, and we appreciate that, but we would rather see an apology open in the forum, because then it becomes a he said, she said. And without that documentation, we as the owners and the only moderators, we hope, for the life of this forum, cannot make a decision. So hopefully you guys as the members understand that we've decided on the 15 minutes for a reason. Now, if there's ever a time that you guys want us to change something, all you have to do is contact either, Chad, Chris, or myself, and we will look at it and change it if deemed necessary. Also, go ahead, Chris.
There's an easy way. You could report your own post.
Mm-hmm.
If you think you've been off base, and we've had this happen more than once, where a member realizes they've stepped over a line they shouldn't have, or would like to have said something differently, they can report their own post, and we can go in and edit accordingly or remove it. So there's a reporting tool that you can report others, but you can also report yourself, and it's right there and easy to do. Our goal is we don't want to replace content, because that changes the message, I guess, over time.
Exactly.
But we don't want the content to be purposefully wrong either. Mm-hmm. So we're attentive to these things.
Well, and that's why for most of you new members, you'll see me, go in and and kind of that repetitive, saying, get to know the TOU. The terms of usage were very, very thought out, based on our experiences in other places. And we still are a very, very generous forum, but make sure you know those rules. That way you don't know, you don't have to worry about anything happening. Because we have a lot of forums to go over. Now, fortunately, with the different jobs that we all have now, usually one of us is on the forum at some point in time during the entire day. At some point. And so don't hesitate to reach out.
We're not trying to slap wrists.
No, not at all.
That's what you're trying to say,
No,
right? We're not trying to slap wrists. And I think anybody who has walked that fine line, so to speak, I don't want to call anyone out, but I would hope that you felt like the interaction was very positive, is what I would say. Right. I mean, we try to handle those things as efficiently and quietly as possible, and they're rare. I mean, that's what's awesome.
Well, and
they're so rare. It's great.
Well, and that's why I want to thank all the members. I mean, really, when you think about it, you get 189 people in a room. That's basically what we've just done, and without having anything really major, in fact, we've had nothing really major happen. And so that's a testament to you gentlemen in the TSC and ladies, as to your character, as to your honor, that it makes it very enjoyable for us three as partners to be able to sit back and watch this evolution of the only forum on the internet, especially shave-related, that is administered this way. Basically, you guys police yourselves, and it's working, and it's working.
Well, you mentioned an aspect, Dave, that's worth pointing out. We do have several ladies on the forum that participate quite, interactively.
Right.
So what I'm about to say really applies to the crew gentlemen like myself. In addition to the ladies that participate, our wives are getting more and more interested in our hobby. My wife is very slow to adopt, but I know she is on the forum from time to time. Mm-hmm. I don't ever intend to say something, post a picture, infer anything that I wouldn't want her to see or my kids to see.
Exactly.
Because the internet lives forever. Mm-hmm. And I may say it today, and they may see it next year. And that's why we want context. That's why editing is important, or not editing. We want the context to be there so that what I say doesn't get taken out of context inadvertently. But, we behave like, your significant other is going to see your post at some point. You want them to be proud of who you are online as well. Heck, if they want to join and be a member, all the better. Mm-hmm. I don't want my wife to join. Let's not go there. But she's there anyway. She's watching anyway.
Well, it's funny that you mention that, because just yesterday, and those of you out on the forum know her as the Demon, but this is my spouse Sharon. Chad has met her, and he knows that the Demon moniker is so far from the truth, it's unbelievable. But she does play jokes, and she's getting more involved. And recently, Chris sent her a boatload of soap and an aftershave splash. And just yesterday, she goes, I need to get an account. I need to get on there and review all the soaps, including the ones that she's stolen from me. So, that in itself, when you get somebody that's really not into wet shaving at all, or traditional shaving, and all of a sudden they have 3 razors, 2 brushes, and some of the shave soaps that I can't find anymore, I know where they're at. So, that's what makes this, I think, so worthwhile, that we truly are a family-based, for lack of a better term, we're the Disneyland of shaving forums. Everybody's
all
welcome.
Copyrights reserved. Yeah.
Well, my wife uses 3 soap brands. She uses CBL, Sterling, and Mystic Waters, and she's proven to me that all 3 actually have a bottom to their tub. I didn't think it was possible, but all 3 have a bottom. And the CBL soap, and Chris can vouch for how full he filled it with that one that he modeled for her after her favorite perfume.
Right.
It's pretty much gone.
Wow.
There's like enough in there for 2 shaves left, and she has just been using it religiously.
Well, but that's a danger. That's a dangerous slope.
That's where we're at.
That's a dangerous slope, Chad. Think about it. Because if she goes through a bottom of a tub and uses just that, she goes in and she looks at your den and say, "Why do you need 420 soaps? Be careful."
Oh, it's been asked, and the number's actually now up to 250, and it's been asked. But I think the next one she's going to use is that cherry blossom, which is an absolutely wonderful scent. And I think, Chris, I don't know, it seemed like you were kind of nervous about it. And I think
I'll never see it again.
It's working for guys and girls.
Well, I'll never see my tub again. I'll never see my tub again. She's got that in the safe. Yeah, it's crazy. But I think that's another thing that people will realize when they hear this radio show is that we're not just a bunch of guys shaving. I mean, we've got women involved, and please understand, if you're hearing this radio show for the first time, it's not just shaving. We've got a thread of games that is huge. Probably one of the most popular is the movie thread or the GIF or the meme thread. I mean, these things are going constantly, and so it's a real oasis for people. We have
bingo.
Yeah, and bingo. We've got the.
I can't do bingo ever again.
Of course, you're going to say bingo, Chad. For those of you that are listening, the reason why Chad's naming bingo is because he won this one.
That's right, and don't forget it.
Well, it's funny. I love playing the bingo, but I never even looked at my card this game. But those of you know that I just started a brand new barbershop and things are changed, so I didn't even get a chance to even look. But I'm sure that we're going to get mileage out of Chad being... And that brings up something, Chad. I answered this earlier in the show, but Dawn, Dangerous Dawn from Baton Rouge, Louisiana... I don't understand the context for this, but it came in the mail call and it said, "Will Chad be working in coloring books and comfort puppies into his bad blade shaves?" Would you like to talk about that a little bit?
Well, I think what it comes down to is that Dawn realizes that I'm just better looking than him. I have better hair, and he has to just try and attack me any way that he can.
Well, I got to defend him here because in my journal he did say, "Oh my Lord, Dave, I thought you were 37." So Dawn has got taste and class, and unlike anybody I know, because to look at me and say I'm 37,
and a little bit of brown on his nose, because everybody knows that you're well into your 60s.
Hey, watch it. I mean, I'll own 54. I ain't gonna own 60. But Oh, and by the way, that also brings up the fact that, from what I understand, talking to. And by the way, I have to make a plug for the Central Enablement Center. For those of you that don't know what the Central Enablement Center is, this is a covert operation that we started on another forum that basically enables everybody around you to get more shaving stuff. Well, believe it or not, we do have a uniform. Thanks to Chad, on Zazzle, you can go and get your CEC operative shirt. So please do that as well. But what I was going to ask, Chad, is everybody's telling me that when we reach 200, which is only, that's only like 180, 12 new members, you're going to be shaving your legs.
Sign up the wives.
I'm going to be shaving what? You cut out there for a second. I want to make sure.
You're shaving your legs.
Okay, yes.
And eyebrow, because I'm going to win a piff and he's going to win shaved eyebrow.
I'm not going to shave an eyebrow, but I will.
I like that idea, though.
I will shave the leg.
A leg? One?
No, legs. I'll do them both. I don't mind doing that. So
please tell me.
By the way, you get to see me in my swimsuit, Dave.
Okay, now wait a minute. Chris, we got to set some rules here, because if he's going to video shaving his legs, I don't want to see anything above the knee.
No, but
nothing.
But, if he shaves his legs with a DE, he's going to come out not looking good.
I think you ought to do it. I think you ought to do it with his new Vector that he just got.
Yeah.
Yeah, I wonder how I ended up with one of those, by the way. The whole forum working against us here. My goodness, I didn't even know about the Vector.
Well,
I want to make that clear. I didn't even know about the Vector, and all of a sudden you've got 12 guys talking about it, and somehow I ended up with one.
Well,
now, granted, I got a really good deal. But
well, true.
Still.
Well, I will take part of the ownership of that because I don't think I have seen a razor in the recent future, in the recent past, except maybe the RX, that had the type of just grip on people that this razor has. And I'm sure when you unpacked it today and you put it in your hands, you said, "What the hell is this paper little toy?" Because it is so lightweight.
Yeah.
It's.
I'm actually going to record my first shave with it tomorrow, so I don't want to give a lot away, but I'll be honest, because I think my video might end up coming out before this does, because I know this has to go through editing.
Right.
But I'm leaning towards going to ask myself, why would I buy this? It doesn't look like any other SE out there on the market. The head is super small, and I'll be honest with you, I'm kind of afraid to put a blade in it. Has anybody cut their hands yet?
Nope.
I mean, my hands are already beat up enough.
No.
But
No, but one thing that you're going to notice right off the bat is that the head, the way it screws in, literally you have a rectangular bolt. It's not even round. It's not even a round bolt. It's
I saw that.
And you do have to be careful with that, but it is the most intuitive. Okay, first of all, both of you guys know, and everybody on the TSC knows, that if anybody ever said that I would ever give up straight razors, that it would be the end of the world, because that's what I shave with 99.99% of the time. However, I can tell you this razor could make me switch at some point. It is that intuitive. It is that easy to shave with, and the longevity of the shaves are just amazing. And and Chad, you know me, I when it comes to straight razors, there's nothing like it. But I gotta say, this is the closest thing I have seen. And I've owned an RX, but the RX was a tank. This thing feels like just an extension of your hand. It's a great, it's going to be interesting to see, because I know that Nurse Dave, his first video that he had posted about the Vector, he was really unsure because he felt that it was just so light. And some people like heavy razors, some people like light razors. To me, after the first, I bought it, as you know, I bought this blind. I didn't even research it. Yeah. KJ and Dave in Kentucky had mentioned it, and I said, okay, boom, I'll buy it. And it was honestly probably one of the best investments I ever made.
Yeah, and I don't want, I don't get caught up into the heavy or light razors per se. What I need is a balanced razor. So that's really what I'm going to be focusing on in my video tomorrow, is how balanced it is. That's what I love about my Timeless. That's what I love about my Razor Rod Game Changer, which are probably my two favorite DE razors. They're just so well balanced.
Well, I was surprised.
And if this Vector is well balanced with that single edge head, with a single edge blade, with those feather blades, it could be a winner for sure.
Well, I was really surprised because I know that you had pined over that Timeless for a long time before you pulled the trigger on it. So I was surprised when I saw you get this. You did get a good deal on it, as did I. They were running a sale, but what I find funny about it, and I can send you some if you need some, is because I know that are you going to be starting with the Schick, or are you going to be starting with the Pro Super?
I'm actually just going to use, I have some Pros, just regular Pros, the black ones. I'm going to use those.
Yeah, the one thing you will find with this razor is it cleans your face so much so that it'll almost sometimes feel, because I did that, as you know, I did that 3-blade comparison, and the Supers and the Pros felt like they drug a little bit. Now, that could have been partially because of the soaps I was using, but once I put the Pro Guard blade in, believe it or not, I get my best shave out of the Pro Guard blade. Which is kind of counterintuitive, but the Supers and the Pro Supers just clean. The head is so much that it's at the perfect angle on your face that it doesn't leave anything behind, nothing. So it'll be interesting.
Yeah. Well, I got a lot of Pro Guards too, because I bought a 100-pack of those because I use those in my Feather SS. So I can try a guard in it also.
Well, so now we just got to wait for Mr. Lindsay here to try one.
Yeah, what's the deal with that, Chris? When is yours coming in?
I like my straight razors.
I said the same thing.
You gotta get one.
I bought the General, and
you know what? There's a spot that just opened up on the pass around. So
I'll let other people do that. I got other things to try.
Yeah, basically, ladies and gentlemen of the TSC, what Chris is saying is, oh no, I'm not going to try it because if I do, I'll buy it.
That's right.
yeah.
So, well, guys, what else do you have to add in this crazy circus we call the Owners Roundtable?
I'm just going to add a totally random thing there. Because today Sterling announced their glacial line's coming out.
Yes.
And he announced a few other things. So I went to his website, and darn it, if he doesn't have, I call it orange dirt, terre d'armes, however you say it, one of the best darn scents in the world. If I had known that, I would have had it already. So I just, the things you learn because somebody announces something. I just wanted to throw that totally random thought out there.
But don't sell yourself short. I shaved for the first time with your version of orange dirt, and it was spot on.
Oh yeah, well, see, Joe, Rod, whatever his name is, he doesn't do things halfway. So yeah, now I'm thinking, this is for Dave in Kentucky. You got another guy to go check out the soap because it's his favorite scent too.
Right.
Yep. And Rod does it justice. Let me just say that Rod does it justice. Right. It's really good. He does a good job with it. I
have his glacial spearmint. I have his glacial pineapple. I have margaritas in the Arctic, and all of those are going to get a lot of play here come summertime. And you know, and that's what's neat about it. Chad, what else do you got to add? Anything?
The big thing I just want to say, one final thank you. I know at the beginning we talked about the 1-year anniversary, so thank you guys again for that. And thanks Dave and Chris for everything, because the three of us, it's a good partnership, but it's also been a great friendship that we've developed. So thanks, guys.
Yeah, and I'll just round it out with saying that the one thing that I think that the TSC members need to know is the reason why this works is because we, number one, I think Chad's mentioned this before, we respect each other as businessmen, we respect each other as brothers, and there's just enough difference in our personalities that make it work. In fact, I think it was Don or somebody on the forum that said that I'm the authoritative disciplinarian father. Chad is the son who is now smarter than his father, but his father doesn't want to admit it and will still smack him down. And Chris is the mom that smooths everything out. And
that's nice to know.
Well, it's fun. That was actually on the forum. I can't remember. I want to say it was Don that said it, but that's what makes this partnership work. I mean, it really does. Is because we all see it from different angles, and we can come in.
Yeah, he's more accurate than you give him credit for. Some of our conversations in the background, they go just like that.
Oh yeah, exactly. And that's
true.
But ultimately, the TSC members, know that those conversations, whether they be a knockdown, drag-out argument behind the curtain or an instant unanimous agreement, all are about you, the member. Not about us, not about our egos, not about any of that, because we're not in this other than...
Maybe a little bit about Dave's. Go ahead.
Yeah, what was that, Chris? No. Don't make me go out and get a switch and beat you with it. And that's the good thing about it. And I think most of you on the TSC know that we have that type of relationship, and we would... And I mean this in all sincerity. I mean, I know I would. I'd take a bullet for either one of these guys. I mean, if it ever came down to that.
I think I'm going to have to shake your hand first, and then we can...
Well, that's going to happen soon.
Well, hopefully that's happening in a month.
That's what we're hoping, exactly. All right, gentlemen. Well, hey, thank you so much for being a part of this roundtable. Hopefully we're going to, now that I'm out of school and I'm in a shop, and the nice thing is I'm only working Wednesday through Saturday, so I have a little bit more time to devote to... these things, and the forum's going to get bigger and better. And what I want to say is, once again, thanks to Chad and Chris for this wonderful ride we've been on so far, and also to you guys, the members. And I say it, and I will say it again at the end of the show, you guys are the lifeblood of that. So that wraps up our owners forum for tonight. Say goodnight, Chad. Say goodnight, Chris.
Good night, guys.
Well, that brings another episode of TSC Radio to a close. I do need to make a note that that's the funny thing about even taped radio, is that every once in a while something happens that you're not expecting. In segment 2, you probably heard the emergency alert broadcast, and basically what that was for is not that anybody in Arizona that's listening in other states, it was an emergency alert for a silver alert, which is for senior citizens in Maricopa County, which is just north of the Tucson area. A male, Lewis Brook Jr., is driving a blue 2016 Dodge Dart, Arizona license plate William Charles Frank Mary Victor 20, and he's an 83-year-old man, and unfortunately he does suffer from Alzheimer's, so we wish him and his family the best. He was last seen at 5 p.m. on Tuesday near Dysart and Indian School Road in Avondale. 6'1", thin build, weighing 165 pounds, with gray hair and brown eyes, possibly wearing a white shirt, blue jeans, red-white Nike shoes, and he does suffer from both dementia and diabetes. So our thoughts go out to his family and anybody that's listening to this in the Phoenix area or New Mexico, California. You can keep an eye on that as well. So once again, thank you for listening to the TSC Radio Show. I'd like to thank my partners Chris and Chad, as well as everybody that took part in the various forum questions. We really appreciate it. As I said earlier, you, the members, drive the content. And just want to say thank you to all the members. You are the lifeblood of the TSC Forum, and we appreciate your membership each and every day. Please send us comments, suggestions. We'll be more than happy to look at them. So once again, I've been your host, Handlebarber Dave, and this has been the latest edition of TSC Radio. Join us again soon.